Lord of the Flies survival story. Trapped on an island, several children survive a plane crash but soon have to survive each other. Lord of the Flies by William Golding wrote a dramatic adventure about several children, younger than 13, having to live through a bad time. The leader of this big group of kids is Ralph, where he decides to be chief and make the shots for the rest of them. But orders are sometimes not meant to be followed. Ralph was known as the athletic protagonist in Lord of the Flies. He chose himself to be leader at the beginning of the book, and was the main enforcement of decency and being normal, and not going crazy. To set up a community, Ralph picks a conch shell. Ralph picks a conch shell to assemble everyone and treats it as an overrule of everyone else. Usually, the kids are having fun and doing nothing to help, but Ralph sets up a civilization by building huts together with few others and trying to help them get rescued. In the beginning, people thought Ralph was a good leader, but when the kids started to lose their minds, they start to wonder if the sense of a more powerful person would be better to lead. Eventually, a majority of the kids joins Jack's uprising and becoming leader of the island, except for Piggy, who still has sense. I have decided to compare Ralph to a different character from a Newbery Medal novel, Amos Fortune, Free Man. Amos and Ralph are alike and completely different people if you have read both amazing novels. This man was a wonderful person who started out in Africa as a prince, becoming famous in his tribe, but was taken by white men with guns to take to America. Being taken his dignity and respect as a prince, Amos still would be brave and was ready for what was going to happen, just like Ralph did when his tribe turned on him. He was tied up in chains that restrained him, but he still held his head high and was being sent to work in the Northeast as a servant. As you can tell, Amos was very brave and encouraged, just like Ralph. Amos had a very nice slave owner named Caleb that was with his family making a living in present-day New York. The children taught him to speak English, and they could pay him later on to buy his freedom, in which he did. As a free man, he raised enough money, working as a tailor, and brought a young woman named Violet and her daughter freedom so they could be a family. Soon after Violet's and Amos's marriage, they had to build their own house, like when Ralph took the job to build huts for the kids. Well, besides all the similarities, Ralph took on an adventure where he was not sentenced by his problem by force, where Amos was kidnapped by men and was forced to leave his home and his loved ones. Another thing was that Ralph did not have to deal with all the problems like Amos did. He like working against his will, discrimination, and he was mocked and humiliated. These stories can compare and contrast a lot, whether it's trapped on an island or waking up to a world where you work endlessly by force. The last thing that would be good to think about, which should be, what if you were in that situation? Would you try to get rescued or try to win your own freedom? Would you die on the island or live the rest of your life as a slave? What if you were in that situation?